Turning to the situation in Gaza, the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says that intense hostilities and large-scale displacement continues in Khan Younis, and that with most people moving into areas labeled as, quote, humanitarian zones by the Israeli authorities. As a reminder, this area, which is now smaller than before Monday's evacuation directives, is already overcrowded and lacks almost any infrastructure or services for the people that are there. We, along with our humanitarian colleagues, have been in touch by phone with hundreds of people who are trapped in combat zones of Khan Younis within the area labeled for evacuation. This includes more than 300 people sheltering in schools. And as we said yesterday, this also includes people with reduced mobility, family members who've stayed behind to support them. We continue to engage with all the parties to the conflict to ensure the safety of these people. But civilian casualties continue to be reported in the Khan Younis area. We've also received news that 2 school buildings that were being housed as shelters were hit. The World Health Organization and the Palestine Red Crescent Society were able to evacuate 6 of these wounded and bring them to the International Medical Corps Field Hospital. They also retrieved the bodies of 2 people who'd been killed in these shelters. Meanwhile, people continue to cross from northern Gaza southwards. We, along with our partners, are registering those who cross, providing them with water, with food, and with other supplies, including basic health care, medical referrals, critical information, and child protection services. However, the point is that aid workers had been providing this assistance. The point where aid workers had been providing this assistance was forced to relocate about 800 meters south following shelling near the Israeli checkpoint that took place earlier this year. And in northern Gaza, the World Health Organization reports that health services at the Al-Ali hospitals have partially resumed after insecurity in the area rendered them non-functional for a few days. WHO was able to deliver much-needed fuel and medical supplies to the facility earlier this week. The World Health Organization is also working with partners and the Ministry of Health in Gaza to initiate response measures following the detection of variants of 2 poliovirus type 2 in 6 environmental samples. Meanwhile, we and our humanitarian partners in Gaza continue to screen children, as well as pregnant and breastfeeding women for malnutrition, and also to provide treatment. Since mid-January, nearly 170,000 children under the age of 5 and more than 10,000 pregnant women and breastfeeding women have been screened. Over 11,500 of those children have been diagnosed with acute malnutrition and are receiving treatment. Catherine Russell, the head of the UN Children's Fund, today spoke out on the impediments faced by humanitarian workers in Gaza, saying that we do not have the necessary conditions in the Gaza Strip for a robust humanitarian response. The flow of aid must be unimpeded, and access must be regular, and access must be safe, she said. She also asserted that the dire situation and attacks against humanitarian personnel continue to obstruct our efforts. And of course, as you will recall, yesterday a UNICEF vehicle was hit by bullets while waiting at a designated holding area at near Wadi Gaza checkpoint. And turning to the West Bank, OCHA and UNRWA are assessing the needs of people displaced during an Israeli military operation in the Tulkarem city and in the refugee camp earlier this week. OCHA reports that at least 5 Palestinians were killed by drone strikes by Israeli forces on Monday. And today, Janine Hennis-Plasschaert, who, as you know, is the special coordinator for Lebanon, briefed the Security Council members in close consultations alongside the Undersecretary General for Peace Operations, Jean-Pierre Lacroix. These consultations were followed the publication of the Secretary General's 1701 report on Lebanon. Ms. Hennis-Plasschaert told Security Council that both Lebanon and Israel state that they do not seek two-week war, and she expressed hope that a ceasefire in Gaza would lead to an immediate return to the cessation of hostilities across the Blue Line. She also touched upon other pre-existing crises in Lebanon, mainly the ongoing presidential impasse, and reaffirming the UN's support and assistance to the people of Lebanon.